So the next topic we have is the Marlins off-season acquisitions. They're playing pretty good as of right now, but will it be enough for them to make the playoff? The Miami Marlins sitting at 9-8 currently, third in the NL East, trailing only the Mets and Braves, who the Braves are off to a hot start this year, and the Mets, I mean, they're off to a hot start as well, but can they keep up with the Braves? We'll see about that. But we're here to talk about the Marlins offseason acquisitions. So, earlier in the year, they traded for 2022 AL batting title winner, Luis Arraez. Luis Arraez traded for Pablo Lopez. Um, Arraez is batting 455 as of right now. But we look at, you know, some Marlins offseason acquisitions that they didn't acquire. Garrett Cooper back in 328. Brian De La Cruz back in 300. Let's get back to some acquisitions though. AJ Puck, the new Marlins closer, Yori Gurriel, the 2021 batting champion. Um, Jordan, what do you think about these offseason acquisitions? And do you think they'll play good enough for the rest of the year to maybe make the playoffs in 2023?
I think the big story right now is Luis Arraez hitting 471. That's just absolutely insane. Um,
He was batting 471 before the game yesterday. Now he is currently batting 455, which is still great.
Still
Just
really
a
good.
little low, you know?
Um, but yeah, and as for you mentioned the playoffs, I was going to bring up the fact if Jesus Luzardo can be a consistent number two behind Sandy Alcantara, then because I do think right now the Marlins are a playoff team. I do think that.
Yeah, the Marlins pitching rotation has always been the height of their season, I guess you can say. Sandy Alcantara, Jesus Luzardo, you're right. Can he prove to be that number two behind Sandy? We also got Trevor Rogers. We got Eddie Cabrera, who actually pitches tonight in game two. You also go check that game out. Um, Max Meyer, he's coming back in 2024. We got Dax Fulton in the minor leagues. He's ready to almost come up. Um, we got all these pitching. We're built around pitching. But Evan, what do you think? What do you think
Yeah,
on
so
this?
that's what I saw about the Marlins kind of going into the season is like Dax Fulton. I know that's your boy right there, Jake. I know you love him.
Yes, yes.
And we, like you said, is it, or like Jordan said, is there a true number two? Trevor Rogers had a pretty good season last year, but Jesus may step up this year to be the number two. That was the big thing. I'd say the pitching was good, but what about everything else? Well, you kind of lined it up like Puck, who came from Oakland. Oakland could really use anybody right now. But you guys
Right.
got Puck this season. He's been good so far. He was really good last year. We'll see how that goes in a closing role as you guys get into bigger games. And then the lineup is really the lineup. And I've always made fun of the Marlins lineup strategy. You just signed a bunch of weird veterans like Avisail Garcia and all that. But it's working out. The lineup is coming together. I thought the Luis Arraez move was really good. I think the Yuli Gurriel will kick in a little bit more later. But Arraez batting 450, that first of all, that's insane. But second of all, like you say, well, at last, well, he was batting 350 for a while with the Twins last year. So it's
Yeah.
definitely not out of the question that lasts. I think the biggest thing for the Marlins, though, they got to keep that. The lineup just has to keep churning. I don't think they're going to win the division. I think the Mets and Braves are too top heavy, but I definitely see a path, especially with three wild card teams in total, six playoffs spots in the NL. I definitely think they could compete for a spot. They just, I think the pitching is going to be strong just to get to, because in my opinion, in baseball, the lineup is what gets you to the playoffs. The pitching is what wins you in the playoffs. So, that's to be determined. But if the lineup keeps producing and Arraez keeps hitting well at the top of the order, I think, I think we could see this team compete for a wild card spot.
Yeah, and AJ Puck's ERA was currently at 1.29. He's that closer out of the bullpen, like we talked about. Jesus Luzardo, he has proven through three starts to be a number two behind Sandy. His ERA is sitting at 2.74. Um, Another Marlins offseason acquisition that we may have not talked about a lot because so he's technically with the Major League Club right now, but he doesn't play any games. Is Jose Iglesias. He was a pretty good acquisition as well, but obviously we haven't seen him in any MLB action this year, so we'll see. But final prediction, Marlins playoffs in 2023, yes or no? I'll go with yes. Jordan, what do you?
I will go with yes if the Marlins can find a 2-3 behind Sandy Alcantara.
I'm going to go no at the moment, but I know it's possible. The road is there. The reason why I'm saying no is I think there's a lot of strong teams competing right now. There's the Diamondbacks who are really impressive. You got the West seems like it might have two wild cards, so that's going to be tough. Obviously, we got to see if the Diamondbacks stay, but I really like their core. The Central's kind of a non-factor. I think they'll get their division winner, but the East, you got
The
some teams
Diamond,
that
the Diamondbacks who just lost the series to the Miami Marlins.
yeah, true.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm being a
Okay.
little unfair. I'm just a huge fan of Corbin Carroll and all those young guys. That's the
Oh
reason
yeah.
I'm saying that. But you're right. They did just lose the series. My point being though is I think I'm gonna say no right now, but they clearly do have a path to get there.
Yeah, that was it was interesting. Evan brought up the fact that the West might have two wild card teams. Whether it be the Diamondbacks, Padres, Dodgers, Padres, whatever it ends up being. And then obviously you've got the loser of the NL East. Whoever finishes in second place in the NL East is going to make the postseason, whether that be the Braves or the Mets.
Oh yeah,
So,
definitely.
so let me just
Sorry.
piggyback on what Evan said. It's going to be difficult for the Marlins to get one of those three wild card spots.
One more thing I wanted to bring up was we've joked about the Marlins' attendance record for years. We've joked about the Marlins' attendance for years. But did either of y'all see the attendance at the Tigers Indian Guardians game one? That was ridiculous.
Okay, but my
I think
problem
that was
with
like a
that, I thought you were going to be like, did you see the attendance at the Marlins Diamondbacks? There's so many people there. No, your example is, did you see you're comparing it to another one. But no, I did. There
yes.
was nobody there. Yeah.
There was like 300 people there at
Yeah.
most. Well, it was game one. It was cold. It was windy. Was I kind of see that, but.